Hello and thanks for joining us for a late night newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's very good to have you with us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story tonight: South Korea and the United States have, for the first time, adopted a joint statement countering North Korea's nuclear ambitions. The statement was released following summit talks between President Park Geun-hye and our US counterpart Barack Obama at the White House. Hwang Sung-hee reports from Washington.
South Korea and the U.S. agreed to address North Korea's nuclear ambitions with utmost urgency and determination. Following Friday's summit at the White House on Friday, President Park and President Obama adopted a joint statement dealing solely with North Korea. The leaders reaffirmed that Pyongyang will never be accepted as a nuclear weapon state, vowing to enhance their close collaboration against North Korean provocations.
Today, President Park and I are reaffirming that our nations will never accept North Korea as a nuclear weapons state. We will continue to insist that Pyongyang must abide by its obligations on the complete and verifiable denuclearization of the peninsula in a peaceful manner.
Nonetheless, they stressed that South Korea and the U.S. remain open to dialogue, pledging to work with China and other parties, namely Russia and Japan, to bring North Korea back to credible and meaningful nuclear talks. President Park and Obama also said their two countries stand ready to assist Pyongyang's economic development under certain preconditions.
북한이 비핵화에 진정성 있게 나온다면 한미는 국제사회와 함께 협력적인 조치를 취할 용의가 있음을 재확인하였습니다.
Noting President Park's efforts to improve inter-Korean relations, the U.S. said it will give its full support and agreed to intensify high-level consultations to promote the peaceful reunification of the Korean peninsula. As this marks the first time that the two allies adopted a separate statement on North Korea, South Korea's presidential office said that it shows how committed Seoul and Washington are in ending North Korea's nuclear weapons program. Hwang Sung-hee, Arirang News, Washington.
Now, following up on that report, the two leaders also agreed to upgrade their already significant bilateral cooperation in economic areas. Presidents Park and Obama shared an understanding that South Korea will eventually be a part of the mega trade pact known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP. Park Ji-won has the details.
South Korea and the United States, who already have their own free trade agreement, which entered into force in 2012, have decided to deepen their economic cooperation even further.
이미 높은 수준의 FTA를 체결한 한국과 미국은 TPP에서도 자연스러운 파트너가 될 수 있다고 생각합니다. 이제 협상이 타결된 만큼 우리의 TPP 참여 문제에 대해서도 앞으로 긴밀히 협력해 나가기로 하였습니다.
The leaders agreed to boost their bilateral cooperation in state-of-the-art technologies, including space science and cybersecurity. Presidents Park and Obama also decided to launch a coordinating channel between Seoul and Washington so they can swiftly respond to any cybersecurity challenges.
Coordinating at the highest levels, the White House and the Blue House, making sure that we're in sync in dealing with that challenge.
The two leaders also cemented the strength of the South Korea and U.S. security alliance. They shared a common understanding on South Korea's strengthened relations with China as Seoul attempts to foster regional peace and stability.
한미일, 한일중, 한미중 대화 등 삼각 대화를 강화해 나가는 것이 영내 협력 강화의 새로운 통로를 열 수 있다고 생각합니다.
Obama expressed his support for South Korea's increasingly close ties with China. His remarks dispelled some experts' concerns that Washington was unhappy with the strength of Seoul-Beijing ties.
We want South Korea to have a strong relationship with China, just as we want to have a strong relationship with China.
With the summit and the joint press conference, President Park Geun-hye wrapped up her 4-day stay in Washington. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea's rival parties were mixed in their response to the outcome of the summit. The ruling Saenuri Party noted the first adoption of a joint statement exclusively on North Korea. A spokesperson for the party said it showed Seoul and Washington have made North Korea's denuclearization a top priority. The main opposition, New Politics Alliance for Democracy, was critical of the agreement. It said Presidents Park and Obama should have thought of more creative ways to resolve the North Korean nuclear issue. The MPAD also said President Park should have done more to push Washington to overturn its refusal to transfer some key technologies needed for South Korea's fighter jet project, codenamed KFX. Now, a security expert in the United States has warned that North Korea could master the technology needed to produce a submarine-launched ballistic missile in the next 5 to 10 years. Speaking at the Washington-based Carnegie Endowment for International Peace on Friday local time, Theodore Postal, a professor of science, technology and national security at MIT, said that if North Korea developed the capability, the so-called SLBMs would be more of a security threat than the regime's intercontinental ballistic missiles. He said the KN-08 ICBM North Korea displayed at last Saturday's military parade in Pyongyang was likely a mock-up. The professor also questioned how advanced the regime's ICBM technology actually is, suggesting North Korea could need another 10 to 20 years to have a reliable missile. Now, tension is rising in Israel amid a spate of attempted stabbings that led to Israeli forces on Saturday shooting dead 3 Palestinians. Local reports say 2 of the incidents occurred in the West Bank city of Hebron and the other took place in Jerusalem. CNN reports that a Palestinian news agency says the Palestinians had not been carrying knives and the Israelis simply shot them. Unrest has been growing since last month. 8 Israelis have been killed in stabbing attacks. Around 40 Palestinians have been shot dead over the same period. Now, more bad news for scandal-hit Volkswagen. The German automaker's Korea unit will recall almost 28,000 cars in Korea, not over the emissions cheating software, but because of defective airbags. The problem is that the spring in the steering wheel assembly can become fouled, ripping a cable that controls the electrical connection to the front airbags. And if that happens, the airbags won't deploy in a crash. Volkswagen Korea has reportedly told the government that 7 models are included in the recall. They are the Golf, Jetta, CC, Passat, Scirocco, Tiguan and EOS from the 2010 through 2014 model years. No word yet on when the recall will happen, but Volkswagen Korea will announce the date once it has the necessary supplies in place. Now, Samsung is launching a new pink gold version of its Galaxy Note 5 phablet. The new colour will only be available in Korea for the time being. It's going to go on sale from next Friday, October 23rd. That is the same day as Apple's iPhone 6S and 6S Plus are due to hit the shelves here as well. Apple's rose gold iPhones have been huge hits with consumers in the US and Europe. Samsung says its pink gold Note 5 will come in a 64GB version only and cost slightly over $850 US. The South Korean Navy held a fleet review on Saturday in the southeastern port city of Busan ahead of its 70th anniversary. Over 30 warships, including Aegis destroyers and around 24 aircraft took part in the proceedings. Live firing exercises and some training drills were held off the coast as well. A Navy official says the review shows South Korea's naval readiness and its ability to protect the country's seas. Now, this is the Navy's 3rd fleet review. It's been held every 10 years since 1995. A unique marriage took place in Korea on Friday. It wasn't between 2 people, but rather 2 buildings. The ceremony commemorated Gyeongju City's royal past and marks the end of the Silk Road Cultural Festival. Kwon Jung-ho has more.
This is the Gyeongju Tower. It was built in 2007 and represents the Hwang Sung-hee Temple Tower that stood at the location over 1,000 years ago. And now, meet its new husband, the Jungdo Tower. Completed earlier this year, just a stone's throw away from its wife, it is a replica of the Hwang Tower, recreated from the designs left in ancient records. The Hwang Temple was the jewel of the Shilla kingdom when it was built in the 7th century. At the time, the main 9-story tower was the tallest structure in Asia, standing at 263 feet. The temple and its tower stood for almost 600 years before it was destroyed by Mongolian invaders in the 13th century. Now the two modern towers, commemorating the temple and Gyeongju City's royal past, have been married to symbolize the hope of unification of Korea.
Much like when Queen Seonduk built Hwangyongsa Tower dreaming of world peace, the union of the two towers represents the hope for a peaceful and united Korea.
Hundreds of Gyeongju residents came out for the lavish ceremony, which was held in front of the bride. It's hoped the newlyweds will have a long and happy marriage. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
Now, finally taking a brief look at the weather. Most of the country is under clear skies tonight. The overnight low in Seoul is going to dip to a chilly 9 degrees Celsius. Sunday, however, will be a clear, sunny and warm autumn day. The temperatures nationwide will be in the mid-20s, and we can expect similar conditions for the whole of next week as well. With that, let's take a look at the weather around the world. Well, those are the stories we have for you at this hour. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye.